Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Stonevault 11. This run was done Monday night, and it was a full pre-made group. It was a pretty clean run. I think you could consider this like a textbook run of what should happen during Stonevault. So first of all, when you start a Stonevault, it's pretty normal, basically standard, that you're going to do the whole hallway full with Bloodlust to start the dungeon. And this pool is kind of scary because there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but also your DPS, all of your DPS are pressing everything, and you have every single cooldown, and you're gonna have lust. So it's safe in the sense that everyone has everything, so nothing should go wrong. Like, everyone is just using CC and interrupting things, and also boosting everything down real quickly. So basically, I go into this pool with the idea that I'm gonna press every single button I have, basically. So we bloodlust, and I'm just ready for the AoE damage. Like, I use stasis, TTS, my spirit bloom like instantly, basically on the first big hit, and like I just know that a lot of damage is gonna be coming out, so I'm just focused on sending cooldowns as needed. Because everyone is using everything and we lost it and everything, the pool lasts very little, like just 30 seconds. So I didn't need to use anything else, use my stasis and TTS, but you can feel free to just press everything here, because yeah, your goal here is to keep the pool alive, because the idea there is to gain a lot of time by doing a big pool. So just send everything, because you are not gonna need it on the following pools. So for these packs, obviously you have to interrupt the fears and the arcs, but the only unavoidable damage is the stomp from the golem, and that isn't really gonna kill people. Like, as long as you top people in between the stumps, that's not really that dangerous, and you have a lot of time to top people after a stump. So yeah, you can take it easy, actually. This pool, this one specifically, is a little bit more dangerous because you got 2 golems, which means there's 2 stumps. But there's still, they're not synced. Like, there's a grace period in between one hit and the other, so you can still just heal people up. It's obviously smaller than when there's only one of them, but see, I can just chill and cast a Spirit Bloom, and then the other hit comes. So there's enough time for you to heal it. You obviously gotta be prepared. Like, you have to have at least something to heal back the first hit before the second hit, but it doesn't have to be instant. You can just take your time and think about it and press any of your empowers, basically, or even just lifeline it. With current year levels and the amount of healing you can do when pressing your buttons properly, an 11 doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Like, there's not a lot of things, unavoidable things that you should suffer on. Like, you can just press your buttons, and as long as you are properly using your cooldowns, you can just heal through basically anything on an 11 at this point with current year levels. So, like, for example, as you go higher, you're gonna see people not break all of the spikes in the first boss at the same time, because breaking the spikes does damage, so you might want to stagger them. But it's an 11, people are pretty geared now. You can just break all the spikes in every set, and you can heal it. No one should die. You can just send cooldowns, and people will be fine. So basically, what I'm going with that is that if you're correctly geared and playing right, you don't need to do fancy strategies of like staggering we missed one here, but it was by mistake, not by design. You don't need to do any fancy strategies of hierarchies of intentionally trying to reduce the damage in some way. You can just play the fight straightforward, like on lower keys, and it should work just fine. You shouldn't need those things to heal the damage. I like to use Lifeline a lot here, because the hits are kind of staggered. So you can Burden Embrace the echoes to heal one time, and then send something into Lifeline to heal again. So you get a couple different healing spikes. I fell behind there. I wasn't really prepared, so I just used rewind to top everyone back up before the big hit, which is perfectly fine. That's the purpose of your cooldowns, to help you catch up when you fall behind. Basically, I'm just spreading echoes because I want to live on this one, so my echoes are up. People are taking damage. I use lifeline, and I'm gonna EC here. All right. I actually miss the hunter and the mage there with my Greenbread. That's pretty bad, but doesn't really matter. I can lifeline this one too. And the boss is it. So yeah, you don't really need, like, again, people to do fancy things like stagger in the breaks or anything. As long as you're prepared for each one of them, you will be able to deal with them easily. These mobs, you have to be ready for them. They actually do a lot of damage. That AoE cast that they do hits pretty hard, and it's basically a thing of, as long as you remember that the mob does it and you prepare something for it, you should be able to deal with it. But sometimes you just forget because, yeah, it's just, you just came out of the boss, you're thinking, what cooldowns do I have, what are we going into right now, and you just kind of forget that mob is just gonna absolutely rip everyone. So good to keep a mental note of those mobs, specifically the ones that do that AoE in this part of the dungeon. Right, so here I TD my tank because this is kind of a big pull, and he didn't have Incarnation. I know this because I've been playing with Total for a bit now, so I know a little bit more about Druid. So I know if he has Incarnation up, he's basically immortal. But this pack pulls, and it's still 13 seconds to the Incarnation, so he might have a little bit of trouble like starting this pack. So I'm just gonna TD to help smooth the damage intake for a bit. And yeah, eventually Incarn is gonna be up, and we're perfectly fine. Just touching circles, interrupting things. This pack is not really complicated or scary, as long as everyone is helping, chipping in with the interrupts of thing. So the following pack has one of the most to do the AoE again. And once again, same as before, as long as you're prepared for it, it's not really that dangerous at this key level, but you gotta remember that it's coming and have something for it, right? So I believe I didn't prepare anything right here, actually. That was pretty bad. I don't have anything, and it's coming soon. And there he comes, and I have nothing. Okay, never mind, I just TT as a Dreambread. That works. Usually, up-ranking Dreambread is not good. Like, so you usually want to rank 1 your Dreambread, because if you need burst healing, the best tool you have for it is Spirit Bloom, not Dreambread. So they kind of work for different things. So you want a Spirit Bloom for... Yeah, I kind of ignore that. You want a Spirit Bloom for burst healing, and you want a Dreambread for overtime healing, right? So the reason you always want to rank 1 Dreambread is because that's the best way to use Dreambread, because if you need a high rank Dreambread, you might well use a Spirit Bloom. But if you run into that situation that I just did right there, where I need to heal burst, but I don't have Spirit Bloom because I messed up, then I can rank a Dreambread, and it works. Obviously, the ideal is for me to not mess up. That's what I should do. Like, I should be thinking, okay, this pack that is coming, I'm gonna need something important to heal the AoE, so I'm gonna save my Spirit Bloom, but I didn't. I messed up, so I fix it by doing something not necessarily efficient, which is up-ranking my DB, but it worked out. I keep my group alive, and so the not efficient thing that keeps the group alive is better than dying trying to do the most efficient thing, right? My devastation almost kills themselves flying into something. I got silence, but doesn't really matter. Yeah, this pack is not really scary. There is one mob in these two packs that patrols around that also does the AoE, which is the dangerous one. But once you got that one down, the mobs aren't really that scary. Trying to recover some mana here before I start hitting the boss. And Skarmorak is actually pretty easy to heal. It's actually pretty fun to heal, but you need to be grabbing your orbs, right? Your orbs increase your healing by like 50%, just a lot. So you want to grab one, maybe hold it for a little, then grab another. Like, it's fine to be... Yeah, I stole it from the other. It's fine to be hovering around with two orbs. You just do a ton more healing, which makes healing things just a lot easier. Like, once you have two stacks of the orb, like your Dream Breath can carry pretty hard, because it just starts sticking for so much. And you're still leaving a decent amount of orbs up for your DPS to DPS down the shield. The orbs increase your healing and increase your damage done to the shield, but only to the shield. So your DPS only needs the orb to kill the shield. Once the shield is done, the orb does nothing for DPS, but it still works for you. Like, you're still gaining extra healing all the time from the orbs. So yeah, you can make a weak aura to remind you, show you how many stacks of the orb you have, and just try to keep 1 or 2 stacks almost all the time. I actually struggled a lot with this boss before, because I actually didn't knew that the orbs increase my healing, and I just healed it natty with nothing, which was still possible. It's actually even more fun to do. But yeah, if you just hang around with 2 orbs, it's just really easy. Here I actually don't have any orbs, and I use Rewind to catch back up. But yeah, if you just hang around with 2 orbs for most of the fight, there's not much of a healing check. Once your Dream Breath heals for enough that it can top people up from the crystal breaks, you don't really need to do anything else, basically. Like, you don't have to be worried about bursting people back up in between crystals when your Dream Breath heals for so much that you can just let it tick and it takes care of it. Right, so other side of the dungeon. There's a lot of tank damage in the other side of the dungeon. It's pretty common for tanks to run into some pools and just instantly die. It happens to us a lot before. So yeah, just be careful with your tank. Ideally, if you have Omni CD set up, track their cooldowns, track their defensives. See what they have when they run into the packs. Try to interrupt things and dispel them, because there's some debuffs in there. But yeah, just be mindful of tank damage in this part of the dungeon, because it's pretty common for tanks to just die. Here we're double pulling. When there's a lot of mobs like this, and there's one mob that just sends a frontal, like the big guy, sometimes it gets really hard to see where the frontal is aiming. So keep an eye out for that. There's this single target debuff that my Evoker has right now, which actually hits kind of hard. And plus, my tank is also getting slammed, so a lot of single target healing to do in this part of the dungeon. Don't be afraid of rank 1 Spirit Blooming if you need to heal someone real quick and real hard. Remember, you got Rescue Shield, like I used it right there. And we keep pulling. Tank is gaining stacks from a damage taken increase, so the pull is not going to take very long, but it started getting scary. And here I'm going to TD him as he runs in, because he went in with the stacks from the previous pull. So ideally you should let that reset, but he didn't, so he almost get destroyed. My DD is instantly at red, but we managed. TTS Spirit Bloom again. Stacy's a reversion by mistake there. Not ideal, but not the end of the war. Yeah, these two packs are very dangerous because of this debuff they stack on the tank, and sometimes the tank just misses the stacks. And it gets even harder. So this final trash packs before the next boss, you can take different routes depending of one thing. If you have blacksmith or dwarf in your group, you can go the other side, like here on the stairs to the right, because there's an ingot in an anvil at the back of the room that gives a versatility buff. If you do not have the appropriate profession or race like we do here, we just go left. I'm not actually sure which side is better. I just follow my tank, which is the easiest way to deal with it. Right, so nothing very exciting on these mobs. Just keep touching the frontal and try to interrupt things. Just a single target hit, then just single target healing it. There's more tank debuffs in there, so keeping an eye on my tank. TD when it gets too scary. And this pack kinda doesn't do anything. There's a lot of gas, a little bit of damage going out, but it's not really scary. There's nothing very high damage in here at this skill level. And then we hit the boss. Getting mana real quick. So for this boss, first of all, you should have one range person assigned to kicking the small boss when he jumps to the side. That's a lot of damage that you really, really want to avoid. If your group is just fully melee, you can do it, but it's kind of really annoying. Like right here, I think I get it. Yeah, I think I get it like that. You can do it. It's a little bit annoying. It's not ideal for you to do it, but way better for you to do it than to eat the damage. Dodging the frontal, just like in the trash, and then when the bends come up, you should be kind of prepared for it. You can livebind it. Livebind is pretty good because it's waves of damage, so you can do waves of healing. And then you should prepare a big hit for that AoE. I uprank my DB a little bit, mainly because I want people to be healed up a little bit so they aren't scared because they're low. But I also want to use DB to heal that mechanic. I don't want to use Spirit Bloom, so I rank 2 my DB, so it gets a little bit more up from healing, but it's still over time. They got the interrupt there. Bends are coming again in a couple of seconds. And we got lucky here, so we could stay there. The damage is still coming out, but we don't have to move. I got rescued by my devastation there, which interrupted my DB, but that's fine. And now this boss, obviously, it's very important that you kill them at the same time, because damage one does when you kill the other is actually unreal. And we got really lucky there, actually, that the little guy jumped back and the dots finished the 1% it had and gave us time to kill the other one. Usually you want to coordinate that a little bit more, or if you see that you're gonna miss it, that one is gonna die before the other, you wanna prepare something big like a rewind or maybe a life bind EC, because it is a lot of damage and it's right at the end of the boss. You don't really wanna waste all that. If you wipe there, it's probably the key's over because you just wasted like 3 minutes doing the boss fight and you wipe right at the end. It's like absolutely terrible. So if you just have to send every single cooldown you have available to keep your group alive and those last 2-3% of one of the bosses during the big damage, then that's good, that's fine. For the rock smashers, you probably will have noticed by this point that their abilities are a little bit desync. So the animation happens first and the damage comes after. So for the big AoE hit, you can kind of use this to your advantage because the damage comes and the knockback happens like 1 second after. So you can heal after the damage, but before the knockback, like right there, you get a second to heal. So if you like precast a Spirit Bloom, you can send it right after the damage comes and you don't get cancelled by the knockback. It gives you a little bit of window of time there, but it's not really needed because there's not anything else doing damage here. So yeah. On this pulls, the only scary thing is people getting one shot by the frontal, which is kind of really dumb. Like the frontal is really, really obvious. But it does happen. Ideally, you want to bait the frontal to the walls so the mobs don't go away very far and your DPS can still hit them. And then the totems. You want to kill the totems. I believe we missed one here. Yeah, we missed a totem there. We had Zephyr from my devastation there, which kind of saved us, really. And I just insta rewind to heal those back up. But yeah, the totems are like really, really important. They do not have a lot of HP. I believe as a healer, you can even deal with them. Worst case scenario. But yeah, they cannot go off. They will absolutely murder you. As I said, we got kind of lucky there that my devastation reacted in time and severed it. And we are not gonna miss another one. These two packs you want to do them separately because the Rock Smasher does the AoE, and if you pull two of them and they sync up, you're gonna die. If your tank is really good and knows the timings, you can kind of pull them in a way that they don't sync up, and there's like a delay in between each hit. But there's really no need for it. Like you don't need more time in this dungeon at this key level, obviously. You can just take it easy and kill one at a time, and it's really, really safe. Here we have a death because the AoE again is the sync with the damage. So yeah. I'm casting a single res here. It's not AoE res, and I actually have it macroed in a way that if I cast a res while mouse overing someone dead, it will cast a single res, and if I'm not, it will cast an AoE res. And I like to have it this way for a very specific reason. You can only cast single res if you are not in combat, but if someone else is in combat in the instance, you cannot cast mass res. So here, because I'm casting single res on my Evoker, my tank can actually pull that pack and start fighting with that pack, and it doesn't matter, my res is gonna go off because it's a single res and I'm not in combat. But if this was a mass res and he pulls the mobs, my res gets cancelled because you cannot cast mass res when any in the instance is in combat. So this is a tiny way to gain time, and I kind of like it that you don't have to delay the rest of the group, but you finish your res if you use a single res. So I have it microed to have both kind of reses in the same button. So last pack before the boss, exact same way as the other. You just heal back up the damage, and I think we drag the big guy to the boss. Yeah. So we drag it to the boss and we lost. It's gonna die before any relevant damage from the boss comes, so there's not really important overlaps to be concerned about. See, it's already dead, and now is the first damage event of the boss coming. So this boss is really simple. Like, people won't die from dropping the circles as long as they're full HP. And so the only dangerous part is when they have the dot and they're trying to clear the dot and they get the circles. But also people have to run to the edge of the room to avoid filling the floor with crap. So this is a very common problem of you have to heal people by being very far away, that Evoker runs into. And your best tool for this is just life binding people. Like when Void Corruption is gonna come, I just pre-echo my group, so when they run away I can life bind and heal through the life bind even when they're out of range. Which is like the #1 tool for healing people when out of range on preservation. Here's the Void Corruption. I'm gonna DB my group. Yep. And yeah, this boss is not really complicated. As long as you notice when Void Corruption is gonna come and pre-echo people so you can keep healing them while they run away to clear the stacks on the portal, then that's kind of like the only thing that can kill people. Obviously, if someone needs the frontal, they're gonna die, but that's not really on you. Sometimes someone, like here, my hunter, might have problems getting the debuff clear because maybe your team mates are a bit troll and are still in your portals, or maybe you cannot find it, or maybe you're having troubles. You can keep an eye out on TD those people or help them with a little bit more extra single target healing. But yeah, that was the run. It was pretty clean run, really easy run. Like, as I said, basically textbook of how the dungeon should go. You just have a group doing appropriate DPS and your tank now has the pull and you know what you have to heal. We had one dead. It was dumb and funny dead, but it didn't really affect timer at all. And we +2 it. So I hope you learned something from it. It's not really there's not a lot to learn here because there wasn't any mistakes, and mistakes are the best way to learn. But that's a good example of how you do use the clean run when your group is prepared for things, and on the few specific spots where they are actually prepared, the rest of the team cover them in one way or another. Like you healer using externals on the tank when the tank pull ahead of time before having cooldowns, or your team using their own defensives when your healer fall behind. So yeah, that's a Stonevault. I have a written guide for Stonevault on Spirit Bloom Pro that will be linked in the description of the video. And that's it for today. If you want to ask me something specific about this dungeon or any other dungeon or anything really, you can catch me at the Evoker Discord or the Spirit Bloom Pro Discord, which will also be linked in the description of the video. And have a good one. Bye bye.